YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's Dennis from Simplify Investing. Here I'm gonna bring you a little bit of a different type of video. In this channel, if you're interested in learning about personal finance, credit cards, real estate, and stocks, please subscribe, hit that red button, hit the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. And if you could, while you're down there, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Without any further ado, let's get started. So what I want to talk about is the top 3 financial mistakes I made while I was in my early 20s. Today I'm 23, but I definitely feel like I've learned a lot from my early 20s. My life's definitely been a financial roller coaster, to say the least. First, I want to start with my first car, right? I was 17 when I got my first car. It was a Volvo S80, 2007. If I find a picture, I'm going to put it up right here. It was a beautiful car. Interior was stunning, especially for the year, especially for the price tag. I want to say I paid about $10,000 for it. This was back in 2014 actually. I bought it used. I had about 60,000 miles and it was in great condition. As soon as I got it, there was a few different minor changes that I wanted to change to it. I ended up like plasti dipping all the chrome to make it look black, and I plasti dipped the wheels and then added like a little lip spoiler. At the time I was really into cars. So I was super excited about this car I just got. I worked so hard for, saved up all my money, and I brought it to school the first day. I think it was my junior year of high school. And as soon as I get to high school, everyone's like, oh, this is an old person's car. Why are you getting a grandpa's car? This is not a cool car. You should have got a sports car. You should have got a luxury car, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like this definitely got to me. After I saw all my friends' reactions, it really hurt me. And it made me not really enjoy the car as much anymore, just because other people didn't enjoy the car. And that's one of the things I would want to say that you shouldn't focus on. And the lesson isn't necessarily about the car, but it's about not letting others judge you, right? If you're happy with something, you keep it no matter what. I remember what I ended up doing was I ended up getting really frustrated, right? I bought the car. It was $10,000, like I said, and I did like slight changes to it, the plasti dip, the lips, the spoilers, and all that stuff to make it look a little bit more cool. And nobody really appreciated that. Everyone still thought it was a grandpa's car, even though I loved it. So I got really frustrated and I said, you know what? I'm going to save up all my money. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to work 5-6 days a week while going to high school to save up for a new car. So like I said, I bought this car junior year of high school. When I got to senior year, all summer, even throughout the whole school year, I was working full time while going to school just to save up for a new car. Right before graduation, I want to say maybe 3 months before graduation, I had all my money saved up to buy a brand new car. I saved up about $15,000 or $20,000, and I was planning on using like $10,000 on a down payment for a car. So I went looking for a car and ended up getting a BMW 335. It was a sedan. If I have a picture of it on the screen, I'll put it up right here. I was super excited for that. I paid a ton of money. It took me months to find just because I wanted a stick shift. And if you know anything about BMWs, it's really hard to find stick shift. So I finally found it, got it, and just nobody cared about it. Like, yeah, it was a cool car, and for the time, it was really cool. This was back in 2015 that I purchased it, and it was a 2011, so it was still a relatively new car. But nobody really cared about it, and this just goes to show that nobody really cares about what you have. Just as long as you're happy with whatever you have, that's honestly the most important. And I think one lesson that I learned was how much money I lost on that car. In those 2 years, like I said, I bought the car for $30,000. When I went to go sell it, I sold it for $8,000, and that was in a 2-year span of owning the car. I lost a ton of money in depreciation. I lost a lot of money in repairs. I don't know if you guys know about BMWs, but I personally didn't have the best experience. I did modify mine quite a bit, so that could possibly, tie into the reliability. But personally, I just would stay away from BMW if it was up to me. But yeah, just be really smart with your decisions financially when you're young, because this is when it matters the most. A lot of people say, "Oh, you could worry about it later," like kick the can down the road, and that's not really that's not really true. If I would have just saved my money, continued driving that Volvo, I would have been able to buy a house by the time I was 20 when I moved to Miami, and then rented it out with roommates and lived with roommates, and started building equity in a home. But I decided to be irresponsible and immature and buy a cool car to get all attention from my friends, and have a little cool car, fast car. And it wasn't the best financial decision, but now that I look back at it, it was a good learning experience. Now, this is going to tie into the second point, which was moving out. Now, I'm going to make another video on this, but moving out was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life. When I first moved out, I was about 20 years old. and I don't regret it at all. I think it was a great learning experience. I would do it again. But the reason why I think it's a regret in this situation, and I think everybody should consider this when they're moving out, is you have to remember how much expenses goes into moving out, right? So at the time, I had the BMW. The BMW, I was financing it. I was paying about $272 a month. Then I had insurance, and then I had gas. So all in all, I was probably spending $600 to $700 just for the car, right? And as a college student, I wasn't making that much. I was a server at the time, and I was probably making $3,000 a month. So between the car, housing, food, I was pretty much spending all my money, and I was like living like paycheck to paycheck almost, and it was the worst feeling in the world. I remember I was in a relationship at the time, and I felt terrible because I couldn't really take my girlfriend out to really enjoy the new city that I moved to because I was living paycheck to paycheck. Every dollar that I made, I had to spend on something else. And it was very frustrating. It was a time that I was really depressed. I was in a dark place because it's hard. If you've ever lived paycheck to paycheck, you know the feeling. It's not good. It's a rough situation to be in. So like I said, just if you ever go to move out, I know we're all young. We all are eager to move out, but if you're in a good situation at home, you get along with your parents, you have no reason to leave. Let's say you're going to decide to move 15 minutes away. It's just not worth it. I spent a lot of money moving. I was paying about $1,100 in rent, just in rent alone, plus utilities, which is probably another 50, 60 bucks. And then I had my car payment, my insurance. I was spending more on gas. Here in Florida, we have something called Sun Pass, which is Eats You Alive. It's like a toll for the highway. And where I was living was Miami, which is where I moved out to. Everywhere you go, you need Sun Pass. So I was probably consuming maybe $100, $150 just in Sun Pass a month because I had to use it to go to work. So this is just something to keep in mind. Just analyze all your expenses and make sure that you still have room to save. I personally like to save about $1,000 to $2,000 a month, but it's honestly, it depends case by case, right? We all don't make the same amount of money, and it really just depends on what your goals are. The third mistake that I made in my early 20s was focus too much on my growing my network worth and also working rather than socializing and networking. I think this is something that's came back to like bite me in the ass. I really felt like when I was in college, I didn't really like to socialize with others. I always just kept it to myself. I always just focused on work, and I didn't really network, right? So I have probably 5 to 10 friends, if that I still keep in touch with from college. And I think that was a mistake. I think that if you're in your college years, you should definitely socialize and network with all your colleagues because those will come back to help you in the future. I know this sounds so cringy, especially at a young age, but it really, really does benefit you. Make sure to add them on LinkedIn. Make sure to keep on touch with them, catch up with them every now and then. These things build relationships, and that's what's important in the long run. You don't have to be best friends with these people. Just keep in touch. Be friendly. If it's their birthday, just send them a quick happy birthday text. Every now and then, just catch up with them. Be like, hey, how's life going? It goes a very, very, very long way. It's really nice when someone out of the blue who has no idea, is not thinking about you, you can receive a text from somebody that you would never think of, right? It's a really nice feeling. If you had that happen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So those are my 3 biggest mistakes. If you could learn anything from this video, I hope it does. I hope it benefits at least one person. If you're new here, again, please hit that subscribe button. The notification bell is right next to it. Please, it'll help a ton. And also smash that like button. If you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Just leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.